Hello everyone and welcome to the Swinburne Pop Culture Club podcast for 2023. My name is Blaze, I use they them pronouns, and I'm the secretary of the Pop Culture Club and the host for today's episode. So here we have three other guests with me today. Two people you may have heard before and one newbie. So we'll just go around the circle. Jess, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Hi, I'm Jess. I use she, her. I guess I'm the veteran. I've been here a while. You probably have heard me before.
Oscar?
Hello, I'm Oscar. I am a Swinburne alumni, and I've also been here the whole time, and I use he, him pronouns.
Awesome. And Rhys?
Hi everyone, I'm Rhys. I am new to the podcast. I am a current engineering student. I'm on placement, so you won't necessarily see me around. And I've been a part of the Pop Culture Club since about my second year.
Awesome. So that kind of leads nicely into our theme for today's episode is what is the Pop Culture Club and the Pop Culture Club podcast? So today we just want to discuss previous experience with the podcast as well as experience with the club, as well as like what you get involved with in the club and kind of how you've seen the club change. So like pre-COVID, during and post, as well as a fun mini game at the end. All right, so maybe starting off with Jess, you said that you've been here pretty much since the beginning. What do you mean by that?
Well, so I have, in addition to being part of the podcast since the beginning, which you will see if you go back through it, and you'll see my name on a lot of stuff. And I don't stop talking. That's one of my faults. But also I've been with the Pop Culture Club since it was founded. Not exactly. Well, I've been here since the initial general meeting where the club was founded, where our glorious leader, Matt, our glorious founder, he proclaimed the start of the club and he said, "It shall be good." And it was good.
What year was that?
This was sort of early-ish 2019. So basically, yeah, like, and I'll be honest, so I've been part of the club since then. The club was a bit different back then because it was basically the most way the club worked was there were game days like I don't remember if it was a Tuesday or a Wednesday in the Hammer and Swine, as we continue to sometimes do. So basically I'd sometimes show up, people would show up, play on the Switch, play on board games, all sorts of nerdy stuff. Sometimes people would just turn up and like not speak to people and just sit awkwardly. That's definitely wasn't me. I was a guy at the time. That was weird.
So a lot has changed.
A bit has changed, yeah. And then 2020 happened and the club changed a lot. Because of certain issues of a biological nature, virological nature, whatever.
Is a virus biology?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't do biology.
It's a living thing. Yeah, that's biology. So then the club went online. It was just like, okay, now the club is a Discord server. And then it exploded in size and sort of became the juggernaut that it is now. And so basically, the club's, that's my potted history of the club. I could rant about this for hours, but I will save you all that.
That's all right. Oscar, you also said you've been here for quite a while.
Yeah, so I can't remember actually whether I was at the original or the first AGM, but I definitely also joined the club in 2019. I just moved to Melbourne from uni from regional Victoria, and I was remember going through Uni 1 and signing up for every club that looked interesting to me. And the Pop Culture Club was a no-brainer. And the Pop Culture Club was the only one that actually ever led to anything.
Interesting.
But yeah, so I remember attending that's what the Pop Culture Club was mostly in its first year was, those games, days in the Hammer and Swine with a few other events in there for good measure. I remember we went and they arranged an event where we were able to rent out a cinema at Lido to go see Detective Pikachu. And and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, like I absolutely agree with Jess. Like the Pop Culture Club is the one thing that got better and bigger during COVID.
Yeah, because they switched kind of to using the Discord server and like making that the hub, because a lot of clubs I think struggled with that.
And speaking as someone like I'd moved to campus at the start of 2019 because like I was able to, like, oh, that's a no-brainer, it's great to live on campus. But then 2 weeks into my second year that everything shut down. And what initially happened, so this is a bit like of a tangent, but it's kind of necessary to explain. So what happened when that happened is the Swinburne student residences sent everyone who was living on campus at the time an email essentially saying, if you've got somewhere else to live, please go live there, but we will keep your apartment for you, so you're still free to move back when you did. So I moved back home from about, would have been April to July that year. And it wasn't great there because my old bedroom had already been taken over by my younger sister at that point. So I didn't really have a good spot at home to do online uni. So around July, I decided to move back to the residences because I thought, well, worst case scenario, like I now have a good internet study spot there to, do online uni. I moved back the day that Melbourne's second wave lockdown began. I literally finished unpacking and then got the notification that we were going back into lockdown. And I said to my mum, look, it's fine. It'll only be for a couple of weeks. I'll manage. We were in lockdown for what was it, like 4 or 5 months?
Yeah.
I basically went that entire time without seeing anyone in person who I actually knew. It was just my roommate who I didn't really interact with. And it would not be an exaggeration to say that without the Pop Culture Club in that time, my life would have been it was already difficult, but it might have been unbearably difficult without the Pop Culture Club. Those online games nights every week were the light at the end of the tunnel because they were I think, I don't think we perhaps realized this at the time, but like they were valuable. I'm sure for a lot of other people as well, for still getting some social interaction, some fun, some relaxation in during those times of lockdown. So really, I was part of the Pop Culture Club since the start, but like it was that time that we're like, oh, the Pop Culture Club, like it has formed a integral part of my university experience. And, that's why I'm still here. I graduated from my degree at the end of 2021. Yes, 2021. And I'm still here because, the pop culture, I still want to be involved in the Pop Culture Club because it just formed such an integral part of, uni and my friends, so that's kind of my story. So it's a bit of a sob story and like, it sounds like I'm being dramatic, but like I cannot explain to people just how valuable it was. Without the Pop Culture Club, I would have not just gone those like several months with not seeing anyone, but probably with very minimal social recreation whatsoever. So I cannot understate how important the Pop Culture Club was during that time.
Well, thank you so much for sticking around so much, and I'm glad that this club has had such a positive impact, and I know for a lot of people it did. For me, for example, I started uni in 2020. In the first year, I didn't really know anyone because we went into lockdown so quickly. The one person I knew, Arlo, they said they were doing like an event for one of their clubs that they're involved in, so I joined one of the games nights. And I've never left, basically.
And the rest is history.
Exactly. It became such a very big community. You'd have people on the voice chats for about 24 hours non-stop. Like they'd sleep in the chat and wake up and keep talking to people because it was the only thing a lot of people had, especially people on res or people that had moved out of home.
Yeah.
Because, you restarted at a similar time, kind of going straight into COVID, didn't you?
Yeah, so my first year, I was here for 2 weeks and then we went into COVID lockdown. But I didn't end up joining the club for at least another year. I think a semester before we came back for classes, I ended up joining the club. And that was through word of mouth, basically. I had done a bunch of events for my engineering degree or for other things, just joining events and meeting people, and it turned out a ton of them were in the Pop Culture Club and most of them even in the committee. So it was an interesting time, but I will say coming back to uni and going to those games nights, like weekly games nights, was amazing to meet new people, especially in the flesh. And one of my funniest memories is always from going up to people and saying, "Oh yeah, hi, I'm Rhys from Discord," because that's how I'd introduce myself. I hadn't met anyone for a year or two, and you'd introduce yourself with your Discord name, and it was just a mind-boggling experience.
Yeah, because you'd come to know the icon and the name, and you hadn't actually associated with the person unless they were one of the few people that put their cameras on sometimes during events. And there was definitely this huge excitement when we were able to go back and do in-person events. I know that was, from a club committee perspective, difficult because we did not know if we were going to go into another snap lockdown. We didn't want to put a lot of money and time into a big event if it's going to go back into lockdown. So we're really glad that the ones that we were able to do in 2022, I'm glad that was able to happen. And we've had some amazing events. Did you guys go to the Mario Kart tournament we did last year?
No, I couldn't make it.
I mean, I was there. I was helping
yeah, you were
organise
helping
it.
out, yeah.
I was on the committee last year, which, again, it's sort of one of these things about this club is like, that is, like, being on a committee is the sort of thing I would never have, like, if you'd told me like 4 years ago, oh yeah, you'll be doing that, I'd be like, no, that's not what I do. And it turns out, like, okay, I'm not the best at it, but like I feel like the club like gave me a space where it's like I could actually try that, and like I learned a lot about myself. The Mario Kart was fun. Yeah.
I think that was like our biggest event ever. I think we had over 120 people show up. Yeah. 140 apparently, according to our producer Joel behind the scenes, which is insane. We had people running around with the vests that were like helping organize. It was a crazy event, and we did one again just recently for week 1 coming back. It was still pretty good attendance. I think it being like the first big event in the Junction, which is the new space that SwinPCC built up, probably helped with attendance. But yeah, it was pretty good. Yes, apparently we had just under 100 this year, so that's still a huge event. So I think it's amazing that this club is able to pull such numbers, but also have a dedicated community of like regulars that always come to the in-person games nights, the online games nights, especially through COVID, and any other events that we go to. We seem to have like a core kind of group that is very dedicated to the club, which is amazing because things happen. Swinburne is a very busy university, and so sometimes there are times that you can't make it to events, but we seem to have like a very core community that is very dedicated, which I think is very special about the club.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like, I think if there's also one thing that like COVID taught us, like, I mean, I regrettably am not able to make it to as many of like the events as I'd like, because I've always like worked evenings, and that's obviously like when they are, but like, you know, I'm still able to make it to like some other things. But I think if there's one thing that Pop Culture Club taught us over lockdown, is that there's, even not in lockdown times, like Discord events are still very valuable. I think like for a lot of, especially like even for myself, like as someone who doesn't like leaving their apartment like more than is absolutely necessary sometimes, like it is like there's absolutely value in like, even when we're not in lockdown, of having events that are fun, that are inclusive, but people don't have to leave their homes. Like, you know, I love the Discord events. You know, I think that was, and like we did watch parties on Discord. They were great. You know, it is so, I love watching movies with other people, especially like old movies, like you can kind of like joke about while you're watching. Like, and I love those events like on Discord as well. You know, I'm trying to think of some other like events that like from the Pop Culture Club that I found really memorable. But honestly, I just keep going back to the games nights, because like they were just a huge part of the Pop Culture Club since its inception. And especially during lockdown, it's like those mean the most to me. I think, you know, that's where I'm most associated with the Pop Culture Club, I think.
Yeah.
I reckon one of the biggest draws of the games night is they are every week. So no matter where you are, you can attend a games night, you can interact with people and have a bit of fun with the club.
Yeah, and those, especially the online ones, we wanted to make sure we kept, even though we went back into in-person events and Uni Open, because For example, we wanted it in the evenings because that's when people are available, and people want to go home in the evenings. And if people study online or live far away, or just don't really want to, meet a whole heap of people, because some of our events do have quite a big attendance. So it can be a very easy way to just kind of join, mute yourself, don't have your camera on, but you still like take part in the Jackbox games or Gardic Phone or one of those other games, to kind of get to know people kind of slowly. And I know for me, because I was very new to Discord, that was very helpful. Like I would not have been probably as involved, and especially as comfortable right up off the bat in the club, if I was kind of like thrown into a big event in person.
I think one of the other things is to join the call for those Discord events is a little bit daunting, but once you've joined a couple of times, it's easy to join. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, and I also just had a thought, like one other event that like really stood out to me was the charity live stream.
Yes.
That was the 24-hour charity live stream that was last year. Yes, it must have been last year because I'd moved to my current apartment. That was amazing. The 24-hour charity live stream. I was so thrilled to be a part of it. Even if it was like just for an hour. Just to pop in at literally the crack of dawn.
Yeah.
And like draw some pictures, and like that was so amazing. And like that was just, and it was for a great cause as well. Like so not only are we just great people in general, but we're also philanthropists. So like
yeah, we want to do things. And exciting news, little secret for those listening to the podcast. Yeah, we are planning on doing another one this year over the holidays. Oh yeah, we're just getting a thing that our producer wants us to promote. Yeah, we for the one that we did last year, we managed to raise $1,400 for Headspace, which is incredible. Would love to beat that this year, but still, like, that was such an incredible goal. I remember we were all very sleep deprived at the end of the 24 hours, and we were just like,
who would have thought,
screaming Minecraft parody songs into the mics.
I remember that was amazing.
I feel like a few of our viewers may have had to mute us, but there was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun for us doing it, and we hope it was good for you guys as well. But yeah, we really enjoyed it, and that's why we're going to do it again. I told the community we didn't have to do 24 hours because it was quite long, but no, they want to do another 24-hour one. The charity that we are going to be donating hasn't been confirmed yet, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, as a little teaser for those watching, we are wanting to do that again. So if you are interested, make sure you're on the Discord or following us on any of our social medias like Instagram, or just following us on like joining us as a club member, because you'll be able to see our events as well to find out more details about that.
I will say you said you didn't want to do it for 24 hours. One of the biggest draws for that event, I think, was the 24 hours, because I couldn't join it for all of it. I joined for like half an hour at the start, but it was really interesting just looking on Discord and seeing you guys being on there all day. Yeah. It was crazy.
Yeah, because I had been inspired by, so a little bit of backstory. I kind of was one of the big people working behind the live stream. It was originally my idea, but then everyone helped and worked on it together. I was very much inspired by streamers that I had seen who had done like subathons, which is quite popular on platforms like Twitch, as well as live stream kind of projects like Thankmas, which is something that the YouTuber Jacksepticeye does. Every year he does like a long live stream for charity. So basically I was kind of inspired by those long form live streams because it meant that you could kind of join when you can, and there's always going to be something there, so you don't have to try and make sure that you attend like this 4-hour event where it's like a long event. And there's different things happening, different people come, like you'll have like special guests and all that, and I really thought that was really cool. And with the huge rise of Twitch over the holidays, the COVID lockdowns, it was really cool to be able to go, well, we can do this too, and raise some money, and that was incredible. So we're definitely going to do that again, definitely over the holiday, the like mid-year holiday break. Details to come when I sort them out. Yeah.
And that's a sneak peek for you.
Have there been any other events that you guys have enjoyed that we've done other than the online games nights or the in-person ones?
Am I allowed to mention going to see Avatar 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I love watching movies. I don't go to the cinema anymore, like unless it's with other people, because honestly, otherwise, however much it costs ticket and, without subtitles that you can't pause isn't really worth it. Especially, I know I go on about it a lot, but, I recently started living properly by myself. I have an apartment that's all myself. So, I have my own TV, my own couch. It's like my own DVD player. It's like, why would I go to the cinema, honestly? Like, unless it's with other people. But yeah, just even like doing that recently was a lot of fun, especially seeing it's it's actually almost more fun, I think, to go see like a mediocre movie like with other people, because then you can kind of riff on it afterwards. And that was like, and Avatar 2, I think, struck that balance quite well, because it wasn't like awful, but it was kind of like bad enough that you could poke fun at it, but like it was kind of like so bad it's good almost. Well, no, because it wasn't like, I don't know how to explain it. It was like, it struck a good balance. It was between awful and good, and it struck a good balance between, can kind of riff on it afterwards, but it wasn't like, oh, I'm so angry walking out of that, but it wasn't so bad it's good sort of thing.
Yeah, and that, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't actually an official event. That was just something that some people in the community were like, hey, we want to go see Avatar 2. And then a few other people were like, yeah, we do too. And then you just sorted out a date. Yeah,
and like that's a testament, I think, to just the social power of the Pop Culture Club. Like I said, like almost all my uni friends I've made through the Pop Culture Club, because for the better part of 2 out of my 3 years at uni, that was the only way to make friends, because I was in lockdown. And like, even like, you guys are all back on campus now, like for all your classes except lectures, I believe now.
Some lectures are in person.
Right. So yeah, but like my second year, so I did a 3-year degree. So my second year was entirely online bar the first 2 weeks. Third year was a bit online, but then as it got towards the end, we moved to more hybrid classes, which, can I just say, hybrid is actually worse. Like, it is worse than being completely online, because you also have to then keep meticulous track of like what week of the semester you're in, like even more so than usual, and like how that affects where you're supposed to be and when.
Oh, 100%.
So, I don't recommend hybrid learning. But still, for this last 2 years of my 3-year degree, like there just wasn't much opportunity for any social interaction at uni, except for the Pop Culture Club. So, like that's why like pretty much all my friends are through the Pop Culture Club. And I think like just even like, just impromptu events like that speak, you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be an official event for the Pop Culture Club to, be valuable in that sense,
Yeah, so good time to plug the Discord server that we have. We have our link tree, which you can get to the Discord through that. There is a lot of fun happening there.
I think another impromptu event I've been part of is, I think we went to another movie for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I don't know if that was from SPCC or with friends from SPCC, but it was, well, in SPCC you see groups of friends form, and you see these sort of things happen and move off and do events. And I think it's interesting to see from an outside perspective as well. But another thing I love about SPCC is it is a melding pot or a meeting forum for everyone to come and meet new friends.
Exactly, yeah. And like within the committee, we're all pretty good friends. Like, one, you kind of have to be, you spend too much time together working out stuff, and especially the live stream was definitely a bonding moment, long bonding moment. But it's because we all we all have a common purpose, but we all get along. We all want the best for the club, which is awesome to see. And especially like you three who are now what we call podcast volunteers. Let us know if you want to join us as a volunteer on the committee. Yeah, you guys have put your hand up to want to get further involved in the club, like more than you have to. Jess, obviously moving from committee, you wanted to clearly keep involved somehow, didn't you?
Wait, you can't get rid of me. I was a weird thing where it's like, so I wasn't super involved in the club, even though I've been here since it started, since in 2019. I wasn't super involved then because like social anxiety is like actually putting myself forward and like coming out of my shell at like in-person stuff can be difficult. And like it was during 2020 during all the online games nights, that's when like, okay, no one has to see me. There's already another activity happening. All I am is I'm a name, and it's not even my name, which was helpful when you're switching between two names to be like, no, I'm just Caparo.
Your Discord handle.
Yes, that's me. I'm Caparo479 on some things. But yeah, like basically what I'm getting at is that every friend I have currently is either directly or indirectly linked to the Pop Culture Club. Like they're either people I met there, or they're people I met because I met people that they know through the through the club, or like, yeah, it's all that, which is like, that's a big deal. And also, it's also just been good to see, just to, you know, be in a club that is just, on a personal note, just to be in a club that is just so accidentally queer. Like, yeah, like I was like, the club was where I first met people. Was like, who people are the people who are trans? It's like, okay, that's like, oh, that I'm not the only one. That's wild. Like, I knew that academically, but I didn't like know that people existed. Yeah, the club was the first place that like I sort of came out. And I did it accidentally once because I was struggling to come up with things to say during a Jackbox game.
Oh, you've told me the story.
Yeah, at one point, in the game of Fibbage, Enough About You, which is a sub game of Fibbage, the last round is like you have to like put like a truth and a lie about yourself. And we'd been playing this game. This is probably like the 10th or 15th game of this we played. So I had started to run out of things to put down. And so in a panic, I wrote as my true thing, I am technically gay.
Technically?
Yes, because at the time I wasn't out. So I was like, at the time I was like, I'm a straight guy, even though no, I am a gay girl, it turns out. So I was technically gay. And then people asked me, "Is like, wait, what do you mean?" And I was just like, "Let's not talk about this." And yeah, and they was just awkward about it for another few weeks until I was like, "Oh yeah, no, that's it. I'm Nakaparo, she, her." And then I went to Jess after a while because it's like, "No, this is just me."
So it was definitely a safe space that you felt like you could kind of be more comfortable being yourself, even if it was kind of like a bad accident. You wouldn't have. I'm guessing you wouldn't have done that if you felt like you couldn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
yeah, I mean, like listening to that, I was very torn between oh wow and oh no. Like, but like, you know, like I mean, but you know, the Pop Culture Club is absolutely a safe place for that to happen. And, you know, like, I think it just speaks to just the social inclusivity of the Pop Culture Club. Like, it's been happening more a bit recently. Nothing I was just thought of also, like, it's been happening a bit more recently is international students come back, but I've seen, you know, international students who are like moving to Melbourne and they'll turn to the Pop Culture Club for like just some, you know, if they just have a question or something about, you know, moving to or living in Australia right, or in Melbourne. Like, I think that's just, again, you know, like it's a very open forum, the Pop Culture Club. Like, and I think it's, I mean, I don't know if like Matt necessarily, our glorious founder, had that in mind, but because the Pop Culture Club is so broad, it's like there's nothing that can or can't be discussed really as a part of the Pop Culture Club. Almost everything is pop culture.
Exactly. And with specifically people that were asking questions, that was something I found, is that people came into, especially international or people that were only just like last year, it was like their first year on campus. They're like, I don't know what anything is. I don't know how to do anything. I've just been like taking these classes online. Something that was like a little passion project that I did over the summer of 2022, was create this resource pack, which was this huge document. I did not expect it to be as big as it was, basically outlining like all the different services and resources that Swinburne had, because there are so much, and people often miss that for that formative like first year of doing and like learning the different like academic resources, the welfare services that we have. I felt that people were missing that, so I created this huge document, which I think was like 64 pages or something ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're doing a 2023 version at the moment, to be released soon when I get through it. It is a large document, because yeah, we wanted to make people aware that there's so much that university has, and there wasn't that kind of promotion for it for 2 years.
I mean, for me, it's even just like stuff like we take for granted. Like an international student, you know, moving here from like, you know, like an Asian country isn't going to know that like, oh, go to Big W for like cheap clothes and like sheets and stuff, you know, like it's like, you know, like, oh, where do I go for those sorts of things? You know, like it's just like, oh, and like, what are some places I might look at, like getting a job, as an international student. It's like, oh my God, like, just like stuff that like we just don't even think about. Like, I can't imagine what it's like for like an international student, but like the Pop Culture Club, just wonderfully, I think, help. And it makes me kind of proud that the Pop Culture Club is, able to help people with those sorts of questions they might have.
Yeah, and SwinBurn does have international advisors or like an international team that they work with. So students or alumni who have been international students to basically help new students. But if you're not aware that that service exists, where are you going to go? So also being able to promote that. Obviously stuff with like more complicated things like visas and payments and stuff. Like we're not well educated in that. Like I know I'm not. So being able to send links and resources of people and organizations that do know, quite powerful.
Yeah, I think it can probably also be a bit daunting. Look, I'm not an international student, so I'm trying not to put words in other people's mouths, but like it can probably be a bit daunting for them to like go to like the SwinBurn International Students team or whatever and ask something like, oh, where do I buy a phone charger? But like, so I think having the Discord there and like, just pop a question in, pretty anonymous, it's all text based anyway, it's like, I think that's valuable in its own right as well. And like, like I said, got to start somewhere, and like, we can also point them to the international students team if necessary as well. So I think, it serves it serves its own purpose in that regard as well, for sure.
Yeah. And I think something that the Pop Culture Club also does really well is creates a lot of little niche communities as well. So like if you go on our Discord, for example, this is because again, during like a big, like explosion of the club that happened, it mostly happened on our Discord server. We have like channels for specific topics, and you can also create threads within them for even like more specific topics within those. So you'll find that like if you have like a obsession with a particular show, such as The Owl House, that's a popular one within our Discord, you will find all the people also obsessed with The Owl House, and you can get to know each other based on that, which is such a niche thing, but you can find other people because it's such a big server. There's going to be someone else that is into the same thing as you, which can be amazing, especially coming into a new community. For example, if you're an international student or online student or just someone who has social anxiety, and so being able to sit behind a screen is so much easier, and you can find people similar to you.
As an expansion on both of those, SPCC, I know, has done a lot of collaborations with other clubs.
Yeah.
And I think that's good as well because it allows you to meet, if people in SPCC aren't to your liking and you don't know where to go, you sort of get a little bit redirected and just be like, okay, these people, I like hanging out with these people as well. Or instead, hopefully as well, please don't ditch us. Like, we want to be your friends too. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I feel like we've just been like promoting how great the club is for an hour, but I guess that's kind of the point of this one, this episode.
That is the point of this episode.
Yes, it is, I guess. I guess also because there was a bit of a hiatus after the last podcast season, we kind of wanted to introduce you guys and also our viewers to like what the Pop Culture Club is, because each year we get a huge influx of first years or students that from their later years that just found the club. We wanted a kind of like introductory episode, but it kind of unfortunately, like it kind of in a funny way just becomes a bit of a look how good we are. But obviously we've had our fallbacks, we've had things that haven't gone as well, but I think if our community has seen how much the club has grown. We had a committee of, I think 4 people when I started, before I started, and then it expanded to 6 and then gone to 7, and now we've got 7+ volunteers. It's definitely growing and growing, and I think our community and also SwinBurn is able to see that. So like SwinBurn Student Life has reached out to us about doing things. We did a, can't remember the details, but it was like a Minecraft design competition with us. They helped with the funding and the organization of things behind the scenes and prizes, and we worked with them, and that was a big event. So definitely it's kind of interesting that like we are clearly making an impact, that SwinBurn itself is taking notice, which is really cool considering we are just a heap of students doing this in our spare time.
It's awesome to know that even, when all of us have left SwinBurn, like, I mean, I've already left, but when I have nothing to do with SwinBurn anymore, like, the Pop Culture Club can be our legacy. It's going to be around for a while, and I think that's really special that like it will be we were here to see it begin, like, or in its like early stages, but it's going to be around for a while. I think after like we're gone, after we've like moved on from Swinburne, because I think it fills a very specific but valuable role as a club. Because it's like, I mean, it'd be just as accurate to call it the Swinburne let's just hang out club, because like that's kind of the purpose it serves, and I think that's an extremely valuable purpose for it to serve.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because we've got a couple of our committee members who are finishing up as well. Yes, Jordan just waved. Finishing up this year, so we'll be seeing it change again. It never stops changing. But yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to get at, but I think I adore this club. I'm going to be blunt. I adore this club. As you kind of said before, Jess, pretty much everyone I know has at least some way got some kind of connection to the Pop Culture Club. And I know for me that was so valuable, joining university online, not really knowing anyone, and kind of getting to meet people. Like, I've met like so many people, and pretty much all my best friends are through the Pop Culture Club. Not that we're a cult.
Yeah.
I feel like some of this may be like, we feel like we're being indoctrinated into a cult. We're not a cult, though. Pop Culture Club is kind of, it's in the name. We're just a loving community.
Cults require you to pay money to join them. You can join us for the low cost of your tuition fee. So like,
or if you're associate member, only $10.
Look, if anyone in the committee were to start any form of cults, Arlo would start about sloths.
I think that was a question in like a Jackbox game we had where it's like...
It was. I think it was last week.
Oh,
so,
actually, it was.
Yeah. The same one where Jess revealed how they came out to the group.
Yeah, I tell that story sometimes because I don't know. Yeah, I tell stories about this club a lot to a lot of people because I just
free promo. Yeah,
look, as I've gotten older, I say at the ripe old age of 25.
Old.
I reminisce like emotionally a lot more these days. I think it might be the estrogen that might help.
Yeah, just blame it on the hormones.
Yeah.
So, to get back on track, why did you guys join SPCC? Out of all the clubs, and what drove you to join it?
I think I said before that the only person I kind of knew when I started through orientation was Arlo, our president, Lord and Savior.
No, that's Matt, our founder.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So Arlo's Jesus?
No, Arlo is our fearless leader.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, I knew them, and they said they've got... they just joined one of the committees for a club, so I came and joined one of the games nights just because I was bored. It was COVID lockdowns. I can't remember. I think this was 2020. I joined and never left. I just liked the community. Yeah. Oscar, why did you join?
Well, like I said, like 2019, I just moved from regional Vic to Melbourne for uni. And I didn't really know anyone. I thought, clubs are a good way to get to know people. And I signed up for quite a few through Uni One because, it just lists all the clubs in a big long list. But the Pop Culture Club was really the only one to kind of, reach out and say, here are some events we're running. You should, and these are events I can get behind, Like, I'm not bashing other clubs because it's also not like I tried very hard. But it's like the Pop Culture Club was just so readily accessible, and it fulfilled exactly what I was looking for in a club. So it was a match made in heaven, I suppose, in that sense.
Awesome. Rhys, how did you join the club?
Like I mentioned before, through word of mouth. SPCC wasn't the first club I joined, but...
Which one was it? Are they a dead club?
It's a dead club. It no longer exists, so I'm not going to mention it.
Rest in peace.
Yes. Sad to see.
Forever in our hearts.
Yes. That being said, one of the people I had met, you mentioned before, Blaze, was Arlo before joining this club. And I think that's another testament to the committee, and especially Arlo and Luna at this point. They are volunteers for so many things, and they will spread the word of mouth about SPCC like it is gospel.
Because it is. That's a joke. They're just always on the go, always got so much energy.
Yep. Look for the people with the brightly coloured hair. You
Yes.
can't miss them.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we've got pink and
What about
green
you,
happening
Jess?
at the moment.
I mean, other than just Arlo our fearless leader and president. Yeah, Arlo is just a force. It's weird. But it's ironic because I didn't join it through word of mouth because this was back in 2019, and also I feel like as someone who's in the humanities and like I'm doing a politics degree, I didn't know, like when I came to the club, it wasn't like, oh, I've known you from like that class one time. It's like, no, I didn't know anyone. Like I met everyone through, like, it seems like the first time I met them was in the club because, yeah, we have a lot of engineering people in the club.
I think there's a lot of engineering people at SwinPCC. Also, just for clarification, so Arlo is our president. They've been president for over a year, and Luna is our vice president, who I think has also been in that position for over a year, just to keep everyone up to date.
They've both been around for like basically forever. But yeah, I joined. So basically, I joined pop culture because I was like, okay. By this point, it was 2019. I was like in my third year of uni. I'd fell out of contact with everyone I'd been friends with at high school. I was a loner. Didn't really talk with anyone. I was in therapy at the time, and my therapist was one of the I feel like as part of that was just like, all right, do things to like get yourself out there and like try to be social and stuff. And one of the things I did was like, okay, I should like go look for like clubs to potentially join. So I looked through the list. There's a lot of lists. There's a lot of things. It's like, okay, I'm not like necessarily vibing with most of them. Then eventually I was like, oh, pop culture. Like I don't remember. Matt ran the Disney Club the year before he founded pop culture. That club apparently fell apart. I don't know anything about it. I wasn't the kind of person who would have joined it, but so I just showed up when pop culture was starting because I don't know. I just happened to be looking at the club's page like around the time that it went up. And I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds interesting. Pop culture, I'm interested in that. I can know, again, it's a broad thing. It brings together a lot of people. That's helpful because I'm like, yeah, I can get involved in that. And like, again, it took a while for me to actually get involved like properly. Like it took like a year, but it did. So basically, yeah, I thought, hey, pop culture, that's interesting. I'll give that a go.
It's quite, as you said, it's quite a broad kind of, I don't want to say generic, but kind of topic that it's like easy to go in. It's not super intense. It's like, even if you don't really follow pop culture, you're like, oh, I like games. I have Discord. I play Mario Kart. I don't know. Like you could do very basic things, or just I'm into pop music.
Yeah, I mean, you say generic, and like, maybe it's true, maybe it isn't. But even if it is true, like that's a good thing. Like I said, I think the greatest strength of the pop culture club is its extremely broad appeal. Anyone can join. Anyone can get something out of it.
I think that's visible in the Discord as well. I don't know how many subject-specific channels we have, but there is one for movies, music, all that sort of things, which all have discussion points and all are widely used. However, I think the one that's most used is the Daily Questions channel. I
love that channel.
So if any of you are looking on how to meet any of us or how to get to know us, just start answering the daily questions, please. Yeah. It's really interesting to see some of your answers.
Yeah, I really do like that channel. It's a very easy one to get into.
Yeah.
Anyway, looking at the time, I think we might move on to our mini game. So if this is the first podcast you are checking in to, typically near the end of the podcast, we'll do a little mini game, trivia kind of thing. Differs every week, run by one of the members here. So this week we have Rhys running a game. Do you want to take it away, Rhys?
Yeah, so jumping right in, I decided to bring a game from a popular Melbourne radio station. Some of you might recognize the name of this game. It is called Alpha Bucks. So the point of this game is within the span of a minute, and I might need our producer to grab a timer, you have to answer 10 questions you have to name something that starts with a letter I give you, and you're given 10 categories.
So like 10 questions and the 10 answers all have to start with the same letter?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can't repeat the answer. Apologies.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, because there are 3 of you and I only have 10 questions, I'm going to read out the questions first so that none of you have an advantage over the first person.
Okay.
So you have to name a piece of clothing, a comic character, a wild animal, a board or card game, a book, a movie, a Melbourne suburb, a famous person, and something you can eat.
How do we get our letters?
I will tell you before you start. So, I have pre-written responses, so there are answers to all of these. Who would like to go first?
All right, let's get this over with.
All right.
I feel good about the Melbourne suburb one. I'm a former Uber Eats delivery driver, and I now deliver groceries for Coles. I'm pretty familiar with my suburbs.
Okay.
You're just going to read them out for me. I don't have to remember the questions.
Yeah, I'm going to read the questions.
Yeah,
out,
okay,
don't
good.
worry. So, your letter is C. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Name a piece of clothing.
Cap.
Comic character.
Captain America.
A wild animal.
Cougar.
Board or card game.
Catan.
You can pass. A book.
Captain Underpants.
A movie. You can pass.
Captain America, the First Avenger.
Melbourne suburb.
Cremorne.
Famous person.
Cyndi Lauper.
And something you can eat.
Candy bar.
Ooh.
Okay. So actually there's 9 questions. I miscounted. I apologize. Now a few of those I'm going to have to double check. Can you repeat what the Melbourne suburb was?
Cremorne.
Cremorne.
Cremorne. It's
Okay.
bordered, so it's like kind of southeast of Richmond, bordered by Swan Street, Church Street, Punt Road, and the Yarra.
So I'm just getting thumbs up from the producer as well. And your famous person.
Cyndi Lauper. Didn't she sing Girls Just Want to Have Fun?
I've definitely heard that name before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the name.
Yeah, okay. Is it thumbs up from producer?
Sounds about like what I said as well? Yeah. I know my terrible music.
Yep. You got a 9 out of 9. There is a secret point in here. So if
God.
all of you get 9 out of 9, if one of you manage to get the secret point, you can get 10.
Okay.
Sorry. Just to spice things up a little bit.
The secret point. Now you've thrown me for a loop here. This is.
Do you want to go next, Jess?
Sorry, can I just ask real quick, like, because you didn't know what Cremorne was. What was the suburb you did have written for C?
There are tons, actually. What did I have? Camberwell, Carlton. I think
yeah.
there's a few others. We're right next to Camberwell. Come on.
Cremorne's where I work. So
Okay, yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
I only know Cremorne because I also used to work there.
Yeah. All right, so Jess, you want to go next?
This is so fun.
Yeah.
Now I'm just worried I'm going to panic immediately and like.
Well, you've got a minute.
Oscar's put in such a stellar performance that I now feel like I might not be able to live up to it.
You have set a really high bar, Oscar.
Yeah.
Well done.
C's not a hard letter. Like, what are the other letters? Well, I mean, let's see what the other letters are.
You will find out what the other letters are. That being said, Jess, your letter is S. So, start in 3, 2, 1. Name a piece of clothing.
Shirt.
A comic character.
Spider-Man.
A wild animal.
A seagull.
A board or card game.
Pass.
A book.
Stormbreaker.
A movie.
Oh no. Come on. Pass.
A Melbourne suburb.
Why? No. Happening. Pass.
Famous person. So sorry, Jess, but your time is up.
Damn, Jess.
Okay.
That was difficult.
That was hard. Like, I mean, like, I was like going through the answers, the ones you couldn't get in my head. Like, I came up with some, but like they did not come quickly.
Okay, yep. The first one you missed, I think, was board or card game.
Yeah.
Scrabble
Oh.
was the answer I've got written
I
down.
was thinking Snap.
That would, yep.
I don't play a lot of board games, so like...
A movie, we have Saving Private Ryan, Spirited Away, or I can't say
Schindler's
that.
List.
That's the one.
I was
thank
thinking
you.
Strange World.
Yeah.
Yeah. A Melbourne suburb. Surrey Hills and Sandringham are the two I have written down.
For some reason...
Sorry if I'm like interjecting, but like I'm just like I find this so interesting. Like, this is these are such interesting questions. Like come up with these constraints. So my like Melbourne suburbs would have been South Bank or South Melbourne.
South Melbourne was another one, but yes.
For some reason, the first thing that came into my head with Melbourne suburb was Stawell, which is a country town like a good 300 kilometres away.
I know. Like, I initially thought like Seville, which is also like a town like a bit outside of Melbourne. So.
Yeah.
So a famous person as well. I know you had like 2 seconds to answer that, but you...
Well, hang on. Like, let Jess see if...
Yeah.
Can you answer it
See
now?
if you can answer it now.
Turns out my mind is not good at I'm not good at recall under pressure, which is annoying.
No one is.
Yes, that's the fun of this game.
No, my brain is just emptied. My head is empty.
So for famous people, you could have had Shakespeare, Steve Jobs,
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson.
Stephen Fry.
Steve
Yes.
Irwin.
Yes, all valid answers. And the last question was something you can eat if you want to name something quickly.
Sausage.
Yeah.
Exactly. That was the top answer I had too.
Survey says... Well, that should be another minigame. We do like a Family Feud.
Oh. Survey says, Family Feud, but with people voting on our Discord. Or
You're giving me more
I'm
work
sure
to
we've
do.
thought about that before, but we've just never done it.
I think we're
We
worried
could-
about not getting
yeah.
enough responses. Like we may have a lot of members in the Discord, but not all of them are active. So
Yeah.
You could just turn it into a percentage. So
Yeah, we could, yeah.
stay tuned for that one on a future podcast. So last but certainly not least, Blaze.
Oh no.
So if any of you have figured out what letters I've chosen, your letter is P.
Oh no.
And you have 3, 2, 1. Piece of clothing.
Pants.
Comic character.
Peter Potts.
Wild animal.
Panda.
Board or card game.
Pictionary.
Book.
Pass.
Movie.
Peter Pan.
Melbourne suburb.
Oh no. Pass.
A famous person.
Pass.
Something you can eat.
What first starts with P? You could technically eat paper.
I'll go back to a book.
Oh, book. Prime Prejudice, damn it!
Unfortunately, your time is up. I will count that answer though because.
Oh, thank you.
So, starting at the top, what was your comic character?
Pepper Potts, the
Pepper Potts. Okay, cool. I heard something
Iron
else.
Man? Is that Iron Man's wife?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is. You could have also had Peter Parker or Professor X, but
Oh,
yeah, that's why I asked you when you said Pepper Potts. Are you saying Peter Parker? No.
No, different person.
The next one, a board or card game. You answered that, yes.
Pictionary?
Pictionary, yes. A book. You just answered Pride or Prejudice, yes.
That is technically a book, yes.
Yes, it is. Another one, which I know you're going to kick yourself for, is Percy Jackson.
Oh, that's one of my favorite book series. Damn it.
Yes. Next up, a movie. What was?
I'm going to say the Percy Jackson movie now.
Well, you said Peter Pan.
Yeah, I
you
did say
did. You
Peter
did say
Pan.
Peter Pan, so you got
Yeah.
that one. And a Melbourne suburb.
Well, can you think of one now?
Yes.
Oh, I'm just going through the train lines because that's what I'm aware of. Of the suburbs.
Think other unis. We'll give you that hint.
The uni.
Other unis, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to kick myself, aren't I? Port Melbourne.
Port Melbourne's one, yes.
Yeah.
Another one for the other unis was Parkville.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's
I was
where
wondering what you think. I was like, wait,
Yeah,
how?
that's where Melbourne
Yeah.
is. I was thinking Pascoe Vale.
That's another one I have.
I
written
was
down.
thinking Pakenham because that's the line I'm on, so I see it a lot.
Yeah, Pakenham's like a... I know it's on the train line, but like, I've heard, like, in the Wikipedia article for Pakenham, it says it's a satellite suburb of Melbourne.
Well,
because,
yeah.
like,
I mean, it's
It's a suburb.
These are all the questions.
Was
like,
it included in the what was it called? The Ring of Steel.
I assume so. I'm pretty sure.
Damn, I thought I was going to be so much better at that.
Wasn't most of Mornington included in that?
It is tough. As for a famous person, can you grab a famous person right now?
Off the street.
I have 5 written down, so this is extra pressure.
I came up with answers for both of you guys on your turns, but I cannot remember one for P.
I did the same, and I have an answer for this one.
I've forgotten everyone's name in the entire world.
Yeah.
I was like Penny from The Big Bang Theory, but she's a fictional character, not a real person.
Yes.
Give me your answers.
So I had Paul Walker, Peter Dinklage,
Oh, Peter Dinklage. I should have got that one.
Post Malone, Picasso, and here's where you're really going to kick yourself again, PewDiePie.
Oh my gosh.
Does that count?
That's not his name. His name is Felix Kjelberg.
Well, that's what he's known as.
I guess.
Yeah,
I was about to say Picasso, but no, he's public Picasso, so that works either way. But like,
you still know them mainly as Picasso.
Shakespeare's not an S, but he's
You know them more as Shakespeare, yes?
that's what they're.
I could have just done surnames.
If you really wanted to.
I was going to do Elliot Page, and I'm like, no, Page is his surname.
Well, yeah. Also,
Yeah.
In that case,
The
like,
rules are very unclear.
That's
In
fine.
that case, they don't go by that. So we're figuring out the rules as we go.
Yes, look, rules are very flexible. And as for something you can eat,
I've eaten paper.
I'm not going to accept paper, although I have also eaten paper, so we're not
Yeah.
going there.
We all have.
But
A pear?
Penne pasta.
Pineapple.
pear,
Pasta.
pasta, pizza, pancakes.
Oh, there's so many.
Sorry, that's
I was
what-
thinking of fruits,
I-
and I'm
I
like, there's no. Oh, even better pears. Oh,
Pineapple.
Pineapple.
Oh my
I
god.
don't mean to sound critical right now, Blaze, but like there are a lot of actual foods that
Yeah.
start with P. Like
Yeah.
you didn't need to answer paper.
I need to go again.
Yep. So obviously the winner of that one was very clearly Oscar. Well done. You win the pride of being the winner. That's about it.
The first episode of
Woo.
the season. Good job.
Unfortunately, I wasn't, because Oscar won the first round, I wasn't exactly counting points, so I don't know who came second, but I'm pretty sure it was Jess. So, no?
Say a draw.
I think you may have got me by one.
Okay.
I feel like I very much lost.
That's okay.
What was the bonus point?
So the bonus point I'm not even going to count, but
It was the acronym the letters made out, wasn't it?
no, it wasn't. The bonus point was I had written down here if you answered a wild Aussie animal instead of just an everyone. I should have.
Platypus.
Yeah.
See? What could I have done for that?
There is one.
Cockatoo.
Yes.
And for us,
I would have.
Seagulls are in
I
Australia.
would have accepted seagull, so you could have gotten that bonus point.
so you did come second.
Yeah.
I did lose.
You would have been tied then.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Snake, I guess, would have also done.
Yeah, snake, seal, I would have also
Spider.
accepted. Spider, yes.
I'm being told to, I think, wrap up. All right. So it's been an hour of recording. Awesome. So that's going to wrap up this podcast episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. Let us know if you guys have any suggestions of future topics we should do. We do have a list, but we are more than happy to listen to what you guys want us to do. And let us know who really came second in this game. I think it's Jess, but apparently I did. I don't know. Someone else do the counting.
And everyone tell me how amazing I am for getting a perfect score.
I just feel like Blaze being smarter than me makes a lot of sense.
No. Anyway, different.
Let me have this.
Okay, sure. All right. We're being told to wrap up really quickly. So thank you guys so much for listening. Please, if you haven't already, subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, like it. If you're watching on Spotify, I think that's how that works. Rate it. Also follow us on the Swinburne Student Life website. Also, we have a Linktree and an Instagram. And a Discord and a Facebook, and I think we have something on LinkedIn. So I've been told, the Instagram to go with that is at SwinPCC. So check that out. I have the link to the Linktree with everything else. And we'll finish up then. So guys, thank you. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.